Alright, so today I'm doing some performance stuff on this 2005 Escalade. I'm putting 3 fuel pumps in it because I'm planning on making a bunch of horsepower. So if you like that stuff, subscribe and stick around for the other videos. But while I'm going in there, I figured I'd do a how-to video on how to drop the gas tank so you could change your fuel pump or change your fuel level sender or anything like that. So let's get into it. The tools I'm going to be using are an 8mm nut driver to get the filler neck off the tank, a 15mm socket with an extension. I'm just going to be using an impact, but you could just use a wrench. And a floor jack, because when you drop the tank, you can jack up the back end of the truck and then slide the tank out underneath the frame rail. Now, if you're doing this because you have a bad fuel pump and you have a full gas tank, you're gonna have to use some type of a pump or a hand pump to pump the fuel out of the tank. Or you could drop the tank with it full, but it's kind of heavy with it full, so I wouldn't recommend that. What I usually do, or what I have done in the past, is use a little like Walmart hand pump and then pump the fuel out into a tank. But my situation, the pump is running, so if you were just working on like your fuel level sender or something like that where the fuel pump was still working, you can bypass your fuel pump relay and then run all the fuel out. So in my situation, the fuel pump is working, so what I did was I used the fuel line quick disconnect tool, and these are pretty cheap. They're under $10 at any AutoZone or O'Reilly's. And then you just push the tool into the quick disconnect fitting and then pop the line off. So what I'm using here is one of these Dorman quick disconnect hoses. Push it right in there and then put a fuel line over the end of it, and then you can run it out into a fuel tank. And the way you would do that is go into your fuse box here, and then this relay, you can pull this relay out. That's your fuel pump relay. And then what I usually do is use a little jumper wire like this. It's just a piece of wire, and then you can jump it from the top right terminal to the bottom left terminal, and that will run your fuel pump. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is crawl under the truck and disconnect the evap lines and the filler neck. So here's a drive shaft. This is the front of the vehicle here. So towards the front of the drive shaft on the tank, you'll see this little evap line with the blue connector, and that's just a quick disconnect there. So you can squeeze on both of these quick disconnect clips. And then pull that thing right out. And it's a little bit tough, especially if it hasn't been done recently. So squeeze a clip and then pull that out. Now moving over to the rear of the tank, you have your filler neck here, and then you have another evap line right there which has a quick disconnect. And you also have 2 more evap lines, one here and one here. So same 2 clip disconnect there. And then this one's a little bit tricky, but you squeeze these and then pull it off. And it's a little bit hard to get off, so be prepared to fight with it a little bit. But first what I'll do is I'll take my 8mm nut driver, loosen the hose clamp, and then pull the filler neck off. And then what I normally like to do with this hose clamp, after I loosen it up from here and I bring it up past the barb on the tank, I like to bring it back up and then I tighten the clamp down a little bit just so it won't fall off when I drop the tank. Now we can start working on the rest of the evap lines. And this one here, again, you squeeze and then pull it off. Okay, so we have this line loose, this evap line from the canister loose, and then this one also loose. The filler neck will come off. What I usually like to do is lower the tank, and then the weight of the tank will kind of pull it off the filler neck. It's a short hose, so it's a little bit stubborn to get off if you just try to pull it off. So next step is to go under and get these straps off. So you see this strap right here. There's 2 straps on the tank. Straps are held up with these 15mm bolts. There's 2 of them. One here, and then one here. So as you're dropping the tank, be aware that the front of the tank is actually on top of this cross member here. So as you lower it, the back of the tank is going to want to drop, and this will still be up here. But that's okay, because what I usually do is I drop the back end of the tank completely down while this is still up here, because there's a fuel supply line that we have to disconnect. So I don't like to drop the tank all the way down before doing that. Alright, so I already took the front strap off. Do is just kind of hold the tank up, and it's empty, and so I like to empty it. So then this strap will come out. The strap has like a little tab like this, and you gotta lift it up and then pull it out. Now the tank is ready to come down, but what I like to do is take the bolt for the strap and actually threaded a couple threads back into the hole just so I don't lose the bolt. I know exactly where the bolt is. So now the weight of the tank is holding itself up right now just because of the filler neck in the back. So as I lower the tank, I'll start to pull the filler neck off. There we go. So just kind of wiggle it, loosen it, pull it off. I'll drop the back end of the tank down, and then I'll reach in and get that other fuel line off of there. Alright, so there's your fuel hat right there. So you're going to have an electrical plug, and you're going to have another quick disconnect line. So the quick disconnect line is going to be on the far side of the tank. There, so you're going to have this plug right here. You can push this little clip down and push this thing off. Just like that. And you're also going to have the pressure clip. And then this is the evap line, this is the evap line, but this is your main fuel supply line. So this goes up to the front of the vehicle and it's connected to the frame. So we want to pull this one off to get the tank out. There you go. Alright, so next I'm just going to jack the back of the truck up and then the tank will fall down. If it doesn't fall, I can just give it a little shimmy, push it back, and now we can slide it out. Alright, next to get the hat out, you have two more these quick disconnects. So that one, squeeze and then pull that out. And then this one is the same as the one that was on the canister in the back. Squeeze these, pull this off, and then I'm going to get a mallet and we have to twist the outer ring off to get the hat out. I'm just going to use a pry bar and a hammer. Twist that off. Mine came off really easy because I had this out recently, so if this is replacement, don't expect it to be that easy. You'll have to whack on it for quite a while. So ring will come off, and just be careful not to get any of this rust and junk inside the tank because you're probably going to have a lot of it. At least this is a Wisconsin truck, so it's got some rust on it. Evap lines on the bottom of the hat also, same thing, quick disconnects. And they'll pull right off. And then your basket will come out. Just be careful for the level sender. Don't want to bend that. And now you're ready to put the new one in. This bucket will be full of fuel usually, so dump it out. Alright, so there is the whole fuel hat basket assembly. Usually when you replace this, you'll replace the whole thing. So then what I usually do is I would clean around here, make sure you don't drop anything in the tank. So I did drop a couple little pieces in there. And then putting everything back together, it's just the opposite of all those steps. So it usually takes about a half hour, 45 minutes. Should definitely be able to get it done in about an hour, so it's really not too bad. So hopefully that helped.